Hello and welcome to my channel. Try This is a series where I break down interesting commanders, and today I'm covering Mondrak, Glory, Dominus. If you enjoy this content, then please consider liking the video and subscribing to the channel. It really helps other viewers discover the content I produce and is a great way to show support. With that said, let's dive in. Mondrak is a 4/4 Phyrexian horror that costs 2 white. It has a passive effect that doubles all tokens that are created under your control. For 1 generic, 2 Phyrexian white mana, and sacrificing any combination of 2 artifacts and creatures, you can put an indestructible counter on it. Well, getting Anointed Procession in the command zone is a very powerful effect. White is one of, if not the best color for creating tokens, so this commander will be a powerhouse for almost the rest of time. Anointed Procession is an amazing card that has been enabling token strategies for years. It's a great include for this deck as well, though you probably don't need 2 of these effects, especially when our commander can give itself indestructible. Though it never hurts to add it, and it's generally safer sitting around as an enchantment. With one of the best enablers for a token strategy sitting comfortably in the command zone, the rest of the list can just focus on token production and other synergy effects. There's really not much more to say about the commander. I don't think it also needed a very easy way to give itself indestructible, but here we are. For 5 mana, 4 life, and killing a few of our things, we can get an indestructible creature that doubles everything we produce. Sounds like a very good deal on commander. Mono white has gotten a lot of great support over the last couple of years, and I think this commander is one of the best it has gotten, as tokens can be really fun and engaging to play. It can be difficult though to keep track of such a busy board sometimes, but I think if you're cool with that, then this commander is really worth giving a try. Let's start off with some great win cons that work with this commander. Halo Fountain, Strixhaven Stadium, and Monarch Ascension are some of the best cards you can include in this list. The first 2 are alternate win cons that are pretty easy to pull off. Mondrak can easily get up to 15 tokens for the Fountain, and token strategies in general just work really well with the Stadium. Monarch Ascension can pretty much carry games for you by itself even without our commander. If you get this card out early enough, you'll likely win the game outright. Personally, I started taking it out of most decks as I found it to be too reliable. However, in this deck, I think I'll be doing plenty of shenanigans anyway, so you might as well add it to the list. Some other typical cards to add are Smothering Tithe, Cathar's Crusade, and Eldrazi Monument. Our commander doesn't care what type of token we produce, so the Tithe is even more insane than normal on this list. The Crusade and Monument are typical token synergy cards welcome in most decks. Personally, I think Cathar's Crusade is too much of a pain to figure out to run normally. I'm sideboarding it from my example list, but it would be a disservice not to mention it here. It's so powerful because if we make 10 creature tokens, then that's 10 counters not only on those tokens, but the rest of our board. Unfortunately, it gets messy when we have dozens of tokens all entering at different times. It can get really hard to represent at the table when things scale out of control. It's a very good card here, but that's worth pointing out. Other great synergy cards are Chroma's Memorial, Idol of Oblivion, and Intangible Virtue. They're all staples for go-wide strategies. Normally, the Memorial is used in more Selesnyan token decks, as those lists have the ramp potential to get it out early in the game. In mono white, we don't really have that capability, so it's probably an easy cut for that reason. All the same, it gives our massive board state a slew of great keywords, including haste for some explosive turns. Platoon Dispenser, Keeper of the Accord, and Master of Ceremonies are some more utility-based creatures. Platoon Dispenser should almost always draw us a card at end step. Keeper will unlikely make creatures for us, but it can help us rebuild or build up if we're getting dead draws. Mostly it's helpful for getting extra lands with some added possible token production. Master of Ceremonies is probably the best here. Either we get double treasures, double creatures, or draw. If our opponents choose money or friends, we'll be getting more value than we give them, and if they choose secrets, then cool, we get an extra card draw. I've only really talked about synergy because I could probably make a 20-minute video on all the different ways to create tokens in just mono white. The options are almost endless here, so regardless of your power or budget, you should be able to make a viable list for a token strategy. Some great ones to start with though are Ultramarine's Honor Guard, Helm of the Host, and Court of Grace. The Honor Guard will get extra copies from the squad ability, giving us some huge anthems for a go-wide deck. The Court will introduce some much-needed card draw while making up to 2 flyers every upkeep. Helm of the Host in general is just an amazing card. If you watched my videos for a while, you probably know this is one of my favorite equipment cards. It can easily carry games itself and continues the scale when attached to our commander. Myriad also synergizes amazingly with our commander. Making double tokens from that effect really helps mitigate the downside as opponents are eliminated from the game. Blade of Selves, Legion Loyalty, and any Myriad creature like Battle Angels of Tyr are worth considering for this list. The Battle Angels also make their own treasure tokens, which again get doubled up with Mondrak. I'm a pretty big fan of Myriad, as it's an interesting way to squeeze out some extra value from creatures like various ETB triggers and combat triggers. For example, Blade of Selves on Solemn Simulacrum is up to 6 extra lands while our commander is out. Mono white has a ton of ways to create tokens on attack. Adeline, Hero of Bladehold, and Inquisitorial Rosette are some great examples. Adeline makes extra attackers for each opponent. Bladehold anthems our creatures while making attacking tokens. The Rosette is one of the best effects like this in my example list because it also gives menace to all of our attacking creatures, along with the tokens it makes. In a go-wide list, menace is a huge problem for your opponents. Gaudatorial Ketra and her Monument both make tokens while casting creatures, while the Monument also gives us a spell cost reduction. There are a lot of non-creature production effects, so your mileage may vary with these cards. I think if you're rocking over 30 creatures, they're probably worth it, but otherwise, it might be worth cutting for something else. For example, I think Zirium Golden Wind and Ancient Gold Dragon are better options if you have more enchantments and artifacts than creatures. They can both assemble huge board states on their own and are great for go-wide strategies. With the token doubler in the command zone, Zirium can be pretty scary. If he and his tokens stick around, they scale incredibly well and quickly push towards ending the game. Like them is Darien and Meryl, which both can make a ton of tokens for you. In the 99, Darien is just alright. He's just a deterrent here to try and keep players from hitting you. He has the potential to make a ton of tokens, but really Meryl is the better include. Not only do we get the Grand Abolisher effect, but we can make a ton of tokens as well. Soldier decks often have a ton of token production effects, so really you could build Mondrak as a soldier tribal list in a way. I'll be covering some cards from my Meryl video, so if you're looking for some more token effects, you can find some there. There are quite a few mono-white planeswalkers that can create tokens also. Most notably is probably Elspeth's Sun's Champion, but I think Basri Ket is worth shouting out here. He has pretty versatile abilities that work well with this deck. The plus can protect something, while the other two both have token production effects. I also think Ajani Adversary of Tyrants and Ajani Strength of the Pride are both worth mentioning as well. I'm partial to the first one because I like working towards the emblem, but really Strength of the Pride is probably the better planeswalker for this list. It's really easy at mono white to fit in some life gain if you need it, and it's got a great one-sided board wipe. Some great land effects to create tokens are Legion's Landing and Golden Guardian, which both flip into nice token production effects. The Guardian shouldn't be too difficult to flip. It can either fight our indestructible commander or something we don't care about and then sacrifice to our commander's ability. Legion's Landing also shouldn't be too difficult to flip, as we'll likely have enough creatures to attack with. If our commander is out, we make an extra token when it ETBs and already have enough creatures to attack with on the following turn. There's a ton of instant and sorcery effects that can make tokens also. I'm not going to list them all here, but I'll shout out a few great ones. Martial Coup and Phyrexian Rebirth are both board wipes our commander will survive that can also make tokens. Honestly, this commander getting indestructible is kinda spooky. Both of these cards generate double tokens this way since our commander sticks around. Grand Crescendo and Secure the Waste are some instant speed ways to generate a ton of tokens. The Crescendo is also nice as we can just throw it away for x equals 0 if we need to save our board. It's a really flexible protection effect we can sink extra mana into for creatures. I didn't cover every card in this deck or every suggestion I have for Mondrak, so if you'd like to see the rest, check out the deck list in the description below. If you enjoyed this video, please consider clicking the like button and subscribing to the channel. Comment below on cards you think synergize well with this commander, and if you have any suggestions for commanders to build in the future. Thank you so much for watching, good luck, and have fun.